Hey everyone, it's Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my December wrap up. December was like a really good month for me, all things considered. Considering it being like super busy at work and like just a busy time of year in general, like I am pleasantly surprised that I actually read 15 books and about 5,000 pages, like 4,996-ish, because I like DNF'd a couple of books after only like 10 pages, so like around 5,000 pages total. So overall, like no complaints whatsoever. I listened to like a decent amount of audio, which always helps me like add more books to my monthly reads. So yeah, really pleasantly surprised. So let's dive in to the books I read. I'm going to do my standard format, not go into a ton of like detail as to like the synopsis of each book. I'll leave a list of all the books that I read down below so you can check them out. So let's just dive right in here so that this video isn't forever long. So the first book I read was Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I listened to this via audio, gave it 4 stars. This is the first book that I've read that I can recall that is written in verse, which I think listening to the audio really like helped the flow, like get the flow of the writing. And I really like the audio was really good. Elizabeth Acevedo was one of the narrators, and I don't remember who the other one was, but it was nice like getting that the 2 narrators because you follow 2 sisters, and it just flowed really well. I thought it was a very easy audio listen. I liked both perspectives of the 2 sisters that don't really know of the existence of each other, but I wish that we had gotten more of their time like once they find out about each other and like meet each other. I thought it would be more of that, but really it's more like them having this like tragic event and that their father dies, which is not a spoiler. It is like in the synopsis when the father dies, like how they both cope with that loss. So overall, it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. Book number 2 was In a Holidaze by Christina Lauren. I gave this 4 stars. I loved like the found family element. Like you follow Malin, who like is like with her family, but they also spend like every Christmas with another family. Actually, there's like a few different like family units that all spend Christmas together because all of the parents have been friends since college, I believe. I love that like found family element. I loved the relationship between Malin and like the male character, which was, what was his name? Why can't I remember what his name was? I want to say it starts with an A. Andrew. It does start with a name. Loved that relationship and like the kind of like friends to lovers, like they've known each other their entire lives relationship. My like, I guess my biggest complaint, if you will, is I didn't really get into the book until Malin stops like going back and like reliving the same day, like because she relives like the same like day or two, like I want to say like 3 or 4 times before the story just like continues and she doesn't keep reliving the same day. Once she stopped going back, I really got into the story and like read the bulk of the rest of the book in one sitting. So not my favorite Christina Lauren, but in my opinion, it was a really solid book. Then I read Winter Street, but later in the month I read Winter Stroll, and they're part of the same series, so I'm just going to talk about them both now. These were both buddy reads with Linda at Linda's World of Books, both by Elin Hilderbrand, obviously, both 4.5-star reads. I I mean, I just really love Elin Hilderbrand, which I've mentioned before. This book, or these books, follow the Quinn family, and you get all of like the family members' different perspectives. And what I like about that is you have the multiple perspectives and like each of like the characters' kind of like personal struggles, but it all centers around like the same one event in each book. Like there's something kind of unifying the entire, like driving the storyline, which I really liked. I think all of the characters are really good. They're very well developed. Not perfect by any means. You get to see like the characters' flaws. But I enjoyed them. Both of the books also left off on cliffhangers, but overall, really good. Christmassy vibes, winter vibes. I really enjoyed them. Then we have The Malt in Our Stars by Sarah Fox. This is book 3 in the Literary Pub Mystery series. 4.5 stars. I really enjoy this series. I love Sadie. I love the pub. I love the, like, I love the town that she's in. Like, it's just a really solid, cozy mystery series. I loved that there's an author in this book that is involved in the murder, is not the murder victim or the murder suspect, but like is like involved in this murder that takes place. And so it's just like another added element of like literature related fun. Without saying too much about the series, because this is the 3rd book in the series, I love it. I love the budding romance that Sadie's in. Just everything about it I really love. And this is becoming a very like well-loved, one of my favorite cozy mystery series. Then, speaking of favorite cozy mystery series, then I read Without a Brew by Ellie Alexander. 5 stars. I ended up buddy reading this with Amanda at her Pacific Northwest Washington Life and Rainy at Rainy Day Reads, which wasn't like they were planning on buddy reading it, and then I just so happened to like start reading it around the same time, and we like all kind of realized that, and we're like, oh my gosh, let's just buddy read it. So that was really fun, like a nice added bonus to the holiday season, buddy reading it with those 2 ladies. This is, I don't think it can take the place of the Hannah Swenson series as like my favorite cozy mystery series, but it is like creeping up there. I love Sloane Krause. I love the setting. I love the brewery setting. I love her being in Washington State. I love it. It's so good. Sloane is a very solid character. This book, I didn't see the whodunit coming, but I'm really bad at seeing the whodunits coming. Like, I never guess the right person. But I thought this one was done well and was not suspecting the person who did it to be the one who did it. I thought it was definitely going to be someone else. Ellie Alexander just writes really good cozy mystery series, so highly recommend this series. Then I read Fatal Inheritance by Rachel Rhys or Rice. Read this via audio, gave it 3.5 stars. It's not like my favorite book ever. It was fine. I mean, I didn't hate it. Sorry. I thought it was going to be more like cozy mystery-esque where there's like a murder or something. And it wasn't that, so it was a little bit like not what I was expecting, but there is a mystery element. Basically, you follow Eve Forrester. She is in London. It's 1948, and she gets left an inheritance in this guy's will, and she doesn't know who this guy is, like why he would leave her or anything. So she travels to the south of France for like the reading of the will, and to figure out like why she's being left this. And you get a little bit of like the drama because this guy's family is also kind of like, why would he leave this person that none of us know this inheritance? Like, what's going on? And so you get a little bit of drama from that. You also get, I don't want to say it's a dual perspective, because the chapters, like basically at the end of some of the chapters, you get this guy's perspective as to like what's going on. And it kind of leads you to believe one thing. And then at the end, you find out something different, which is, you know, a nice little twist. So it was fine. Not my favorite book ever, but I mean, it was I guess it was a nice change of pace to not read about another murder and like a more cozy mystery. It was a different type of cozy mystery, which was nice, I guess. Just, I guess I like murder. I don't know. Book number 8 was The Christmas Blessing by Donna VanLiere, I believe is how you say her name. This was book 2 in the, like, I don't know what the series is called. Is it the Christmas Shoes? I think so. Just like the Christmas Shoes series. I gave it 3 stars. It was only okay. My biggest complaint is, so this picks up, this is like, I don't know, 20 years after the Christmas Shoes, and you follow like the little boy from the Christmas Shoes. If you know the Christmas song, the Christmas Shoes, like the little boy who buys the shoes for his mom. You follow him like 20, 25 years later. I don't remember exactly how much time has passed. And like, I swear, the book is like just as thin as this one, like less than 200 pages. And it's like every chapter, it's like blah, 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 because my mom died. Like everything, like you were like, it was thrown in your face so much that this guy's mom died. It's like, well, yeah, I know. And so that was like a little bit too much for me. I mean, it does get like, it is a more like Christian fiction book, which I knew going into it, so I can't like complain like, oh, there was just a ton of religion thrown at you, because that's what it is. So I'm not going to like list that as a downfall when I knew that going into it. But there is a lot of like, you know, religious tones to it, a lot of like talk of God, which again is fine if I know about it going into it. But it was just okay. There are more books in the series, but I'm not going to continue it. Like, I really liked The Christmas Shoes, gave it 5 stars. This one just, it's not the same. So it was fine. It's just not my cup of tea. Then I read book 9 was Murder Knocks Twice by Susanna Calkins. Listen to this, 4 stars. I loved, so this is set in like 1920s Chicago, and the main character, Gina, works in a speakeasy. Like, that setting is like, I've never read anything like set in that time frame in a speakeasy before, so that was a lot of fun. I loved that setting. I also loved, like, the author did such a good job, I feel like, in her research, like the like outfits that she describes, you could like picture them. The language, like some of the phrases that they use are very like appropriate for the time period that they're writing. So like there's not like a ton of like curse words or anything. Like they're using like really funny, you know, like 1920s phrases. So I thought it was just like nice, like the atmosphere, like you really felt like you were in 1920s Chicago. I really enjoyed it. It was a good time. Is it, as of right now, going to go up there as far as cozy mysteries go with Hannah Swinson and Sloane Krause and the Literary Pub series? Probably not, but it was fun. I enjoyed the setting. I'm going to continue the series because it was a good time and just not a setting that I'm like familiar with, and so it was different and I liked it. Then I read 10 Dead Comedians by Fred Van Lente. I don't know if the E is pronounced or not. This one I gave 3.5 stars. This reminded me a lot of Clue. I mean, it's a take on Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I mean, it was enjoyable. I liked it. They're basically 10 comedians are like on this private island, and they start dying, and so they have to figure out who's killing them. I didn't really connect with any of the characters. Like, I don't know that you get all 10 of the perspectives, but I didn't really connect with any of them. So it was hard to like rate it higher than that when I really didn't like, not that I didn't care who died, but it was really like, oh, okay, like I didn't really like have any emotional attachment to any of them. So when they died, it was like, okay, that's really the only like thing that's wrong with it, is I just didn't connect to any of them. It was easy to read. It was fun. I just didn't connect with any of the characters, and I need to connect with them in order to, rate it higher. Then I read A Cherry Cola Christmas. Listened to that via audio. Gave that 3.5 stars. That is book 4? 3 or 4 in the Cherry Cola Book Club series. This one, I wish it was more Christmassy, considering Christmas is in the title. I think it starts off in like October, and you don't really get to Christmas until the very end. And then even like the little bit that's like Christmassy, like takes place at a Christmas party. But you could have like changed the party setting to like be Thanksgiving or anything else, and it would have been just the same. Like, there was nothing like overtly Christmas related about it, in my opinion. So that was a little bit disappointing, just because I had waited to read this one till Christmas time because I thought it'd be more Christmassy than it was. And then I read it. I'm like, oh, I could have read this in October. It would have been fine. But I'm still overall enjoying the series. I love Morabeth as a character, as the librarian. I love, the other members of the book club, and you're getting to see them develop a little bit more, like getting to see more of the other characters, which was nice. And I love that now that like the library is in a little bit more stable place at this point in the series, it can kind of help the town grow more and like be more stable as well. So that's nice. I just wish it was more Christmassy than it was. All right. Then I read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. 5 stars. This is my favorite book of all time. Most people know what Little Women is about. The interesting thing during this read, and if you watched my vlogs, I kind of touched on it, is I've never really connected with Meg in the book like I did this time. Like, I've always found more of myself in Joe, which I think most people do. And this read, because of like where I am in life, still fairly basically a newlywed. John and I have only been married 2 years, and being pregnant with our first child, there are scenes in Little Women where Meg is in that exact same position, and she has some really good conversations with Marmee about it. And having those, having that insight was it was nice to be able to connect to a different character in a way that I haven't before, which is why I love rereading some of my favorites, because you always get that opportunity to make new connections or gain something new from your favorite books. So that was a nice, pleasant surprise. Then we have The Light of All That Falls by James Islington. This is the third and final book in the Lycanius trilogy. It's massive. John and I listened to this, and I gave it 4 stars. There's a lot. I mean, guys, these books are huge. This is 800 pages. A lot happens in the 800 pages. Like I said, I'm going to try and get John to film maybe a little I don't know, review or explanation as to what this series is about, because I can't adequately summarize it because so much happens. But I feel I follow along well when we're listening, and then people will ask me what it's about, and I'm like, I don't know. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the storyline, but there's just so much to unpack in these. But they're good. They're easy to listen to. I think that this book in particular wrapped up the series well. There were some like twists that I didn't see coming until like literally like they're like you're reading it and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's what's happening. So I liked that. Yeah, so it's a chunker. Glad I got through it. I'm pleasantly surprised by how much I ended up enjoying the series because I was incredibly intimidated by it. Then we have Half a War by Joe Abercrombie. I gave this 4 stars. This is the last book in the Shattered Seas trilogy, which I read the entire trilogy this year. I mean, they're not huge. They're only like 300 to 400 pages. I thought this, again, was another really solid conclusion to the series. There was a little bit of a twist at the end that I am surprised at, and I'm still trying to decide if, like, it's a good twist or a bad twist. Again, it's something that I didn't see coming, and I'm trying to decide if it, like, makes sense for the character. But whatever. You get a lot of the, like, characters that you've met in the first 2 books in this one, and it's another one that just, like, it wrapped up the series nicely because you get some of the, like, closure on characters from the previous 2 books whilst getting an additional perspective or 2 in this one. So, enjoyed that. And then the last book I read, which was not planned on, like, a TBR or anything, it just happened to work out, is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, the sequel to Skyward. John and I listened to this, 4.5 stars. I'm enjoying this series. I cannot wait for book 3, mostly because this book right here leaves on such a cliffhanger. Like, we were listening and I'm like, that's the ending? Like, that can't be how it ends. Like, you think that you're just going to go into, like, another chapter and it's like, no, the book's over. So definite cliffhanger. I love the dynamic between Mbot and Spensa, and I'm sure most people that have read this do. Like, Mbot is such a, like, cool, like, awesome AI. Like, I love that robot man. He's so cool. And, like, the dynamic between Mbot and Spensa is awesome. And I love that you got some new characters because Spensa is not with her, like, flight crew for a lot of the book. You get a new cast of characters, and I thought those were all great and interesting. Some new blood in the series, and I enjoyed that. And yeah, I'm really excited to read book 3. I don't think there's a publication date, but they say 2021, so excited to read that when it comes out. So those are the 15 books I read in December. It was really good. Like, I mean, the lowest rating I gave was 3 stars, so that's not too shabby. I feel like I read a lot of really good books. So let me know down below how your December was. I feel like I've been seeing, like, a lot of people, like, crushed it in December. Like, a lot of people read a lot of books. So I feel like a lot of people had a really good reading month, but let me know down below how your reading month was. I guess I should say I completed all of the prompts for the Reindeer Readathon except for the Slaying It bonus. So that was nice. I don't remember where I came in. I finished the Choose Your Own Adventure, Holiday Adventure, like the path that I had selected. And as far as the Cloak and Dagger Christmas, I don't know what level I got to. There's, like, different levels depending on how many prompts you completed. I don't know where I ended up with that, but I read a decent chunk of mysteries, so I'm sure I did fine. I think somewhere between, like, 3 and 6 maybe, or 6 and 9. I don't know. Anyways, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy reading. Bye!